All right, so I should check here, see if people can hear me. I don't know who has joined or if anyone's joined yet. So if you can hear me, make sure to type in the chat window below. Otherwise, it's going to be a very short Q&A. And that would just mean that I explain myself really well through the course in the Facebook group, and you guys don't have any particular leaning questions, which is also fantastic. So I'm just going to hang out here till I see some people in the group. And I'll type in here. And hit return. Oh, great. And of course, I misspelled the word here. That's just awesome. Off to a good start, guys. So I think Garrett jumped in several hours ago. I don't know if he's, let's see. Let's see here. Was amazed with the number of return tracks you used. It never crossed my mind to use more than 2. Yeah, I do sometimes use return tracks as a way to automate interest in a track, because, well, we can get into this once we officially kick off. But yeah, using return tracks can do more than just kind of give a basic reverb and delay or things like that. You can, especially if you're using convolution reverbs or convolution samples that you can use in place of reverbs and stuff like that, you can get some really interesting effects out of sounds that are a little bit less interesting, and that it can actually add some depth and dimension to your track, if it's used, sparingly. And Deuce is in. Awesome. So, hey, Deuce. Hope you're not the only one here, but for right now, you're the only one I see in the chat group. And, looking on this page, I'm not really able to see, how many people I actually have. So if you're here, type in that little chat box and let me know. It's officially 12 o'clock, and yeah, I have no idea how many people are in here. I don't view these very often, so yeah, hopefully those who want to join are here. But I'm going to wait just a little bit longer because there's not really much interaction in the chat group. And once again, this will be a very short Q&A if that's the case. I did have one person ask me a question that can't make the group, so I'll try to answer that question. But yeah, let's hang out for a little bit and see. I wonder. I'm going to jump back into the Facebook group just real quick, see what we have happening here. Yep, there's the never-ending tunnel. All right, so we're live. Get rid of that real quick. Get rid of that real quick. That's funny. Someone still wants to join the group, and the whole course is done with. I guess I'll let them in the group though. It's fine. There you go. Hey, Deuce, you got any questions while we're waiting? All right, Jose's in. That's awesome. Greetings. Back to you. How's the weather in Mexico? I wonder. Warm? Or do you guys? I don't know what your winters are like in Mexico. So, well, welcome either way, Jose. Okay, everyone, if you can hear me, just say, yes, I can hear you in the group, and then I will go ahead and get started. If you cannot hear me, then I won't get started, and we'll stop this really quickly. Overall, the class was about 6 hours. Is that a normal time for you to finish a track? No, not necessarily. You also got to understand that walkthrough was edited. You know, there were sometimes when I kind of steered off in a direction that wasn't working. You know, and I didn't want to bore you guys with all the nitty gritty stuff that wasn't that useful and wasn't that impressive. But I mean, I can write a song in 6 to 8 hours or something like that. But usually, I put a couple hours a day into a track, and if I'm lucky, I'll get it done in 3 or 4 days. That's kind of about where I'm at now. Let's see. Also notice the dates in the videos spread over a period of months. Do you come back to old loops and tracks after being away? Yeah, I do come back to tracks and things like that. I don't know that I spent that much time. Some of those timestamps might just be from editing the videos more than anything, because I think I was taking on that track for maybe a good week, maybe between a week and 2 weeks, probably on that track. And I did end up coming back to it after where the videos left off. I did come back to it and just put a couple final touches on it before I released the track. But essentially, that was like 96% there, at the end of the final lesson or walkthrough, whatever you want to call it. So Deuce, I hope that helped. If it did, just hit me back, just so I know I'm not talking to myself here. So yeah, it's been about 6 minutes here. So first off, thanks everyone for being here. Whoever is here, doesn't matter to me. I'm just here to give value. And, I really appreciate you guys taking the time and letting me kind of guide you. And I hope I was able to give some good value. And I think that, it was really great, the interaction that was happening inside our little private group. So anyone that's got questions, can definitely ask me those there as well. And I'd be happy to help you guys out. Yeah, let's clear the distractions. Let's hang out for a little bit. And I will try to answer a couple questions, obviously. And if more questions come in, then we can carry this on as long as we need to. And if questions don't come in, then I'll wrap it up pretty quickly. So first off, people might wonder, why did I give like a free course with all this information? Something that I very easily could have charged for. And the answer is really, for one, I really actually want to empower people. I know what it's like to struggle and not really know how to get from point A to point Z. Also, this is a really great way to introduce myself to a lot of new people, you know, who haven't really heard of me or anything that I do. So, you know, my hope is that, you know, people like the value that I'm able to give them. It's usable, and they connect with my personality. And, you know, it's just a way to let people know that, you know, I'm sincere about trying to help people, you know, get where they want to go with their music. You know, this walkthrough obviously was just one style of music, you know, but I'm hoping that people are able to apply it to, you know, whatever they're doing with their own music, and that was really the goal. So that's why I put this course together, and that's why I made it free. You know, it was just it was a pretty quick decision for me once I thought about it. I just thought this would give a lot of value, and hopefully a lot of people will get a lot out of it. Oh, nice. Yeah, Mexico's hot. I should visit there because we're getting a little cold over here. Um, and near the beach, I can use a little beach visit. Okay, so yeah, who am I? Many of you guys already know who I am, but for those that don't, this is my mug here. My name is Jason Timothy. Um, I run a music software training site called musicsoftwaretraining.com, where I have plenty of blog posts, and I make products that help people learn and use Ableton Live. I've also written a best-selling book, and you know, right now, if you want to, even though I told you to turn off your distractions, you could literally search Amazon and just search the words music production, and this book should come up to the top. It's doing really well. I've gotten, you know, at least 90% of the people who've reviewed it have given me 5-star reviews and really kind words. So really happy about that. And it basically just tells a lot about my philosophy behind music making and more of the mental game. You know, it's not, everyone's trying to teach you technique after technique after technique. And although those can be great for your toolbox, if you don't really have a blueprint, you know, the toolbox doesn't do you very much good. So that's why this book was written. And for those of you who have bought it and read it, I really appreciate you. Also, I'm a producer, and that's kind of where I've come from. I started making music all the way back in 1987. Started making electronic music around 1996 after being in bands, you know, playing guitar and stuff. So I kind of know what it's like to be in a live band as well. But yeah, in this case here, much of my music releases happened over the last 2 years or so. You know, I'd kind of gone through a funk and wasn't able to, you know, finish songs, just like a lot of people who join my classes. And so I put together a way, you know, process that helped me finish, you know, a lot of songs. And so you can find me on Beatport, just search Jason Timothy, and that stuff will come up. So that's who I am. So back to the Q&A. So while I'm waiting for a question, I'm going to jump over to Ableton. Someone had asked me a question, and I'm hoping that this will clear some things. Someone was asking about, hey Deuce, I'll take your question in just a second. I'm going to just jump over, and then I'll jump back and check you out. So someone was asking me about the process of EQing like a kick drum or something like that. And there's a couple ways that you can do it. One way, let's see, what's the best approach here? I'm just gonna grab a kick sample real quick. So let me just go to samples. Oops. we go. Type in kick. All right, cool. So we got a kick here, right? So what I do when tuning, now sometimes I don't tune at all, right? But I might boost the EQ, so I'll show you that in just a second. But let's say our bass, we got a bass line that's in, the main bass is in the key of D, right? Or D minor, you know, we can go with that. So what I'll do is when I have my kick, there's a couple things that I can do. I'm dragging an EQ8 here, and drop that down here. And so what I can do is I can open up this EQ, and while let me just loop this real quick. Here's the fundamental right here. So wherever this is hitting, that's really kind of the tone. And if you look down here, you can see what the key is, right? So looks like that note is it A or A minor? So what I could literally do, one way I can transpose it. So and even though this doesn't sound all that great right now, I'm just trying to give you an example. You could change the transposition, and as you can see, now we're up to E, and we can continue to go until we hit what we want to hit. Here's D right here, so I can probably get it by hitting there. Yeah, so that seems to be hitting on a D. So that would be tuned to D now, just by transposing it. Now, if you don't like the tone of that, right? Actually, I kind of like the way that sounds, but if you don't like the tone of that, that's fine also. Maybe you just like that a lot better. What you can do is with the EQ, you can actually kind of put a bump in the frequency. And let me just format, that's 3, that's 4. There we go, kind of a bump. And then I can kind of find, there we go, that's a D right there. Oh. I can kind of find it in here as well. Let me just tighten up the Q. So you could bump a couple harmonics, and that kind of will give a little more impression of tuning your kick. And if you want to boost it just to see, change the Q a bit. Jump over here, give this a little boost. And if you sweep, you can really kind of hear what's happening. And you guys probably can't hear because, you know, this broadcast is not, you know, broadcasting the sounds. You're just hearing it out of my speakers or whatever. But yeah, so that's a way to tune drums or tune pretty much anything. You know, you just kind of go in and you can boost those, and you know, other things too. You might want to pull out some of the frequencies, you know, and reduce in some areas to get a certain sound that you're going for. But that's kind of just a quick, easy, and dirty way to tune certain things without changing the pitch over here, without using the transpose. So you can use one, the other, or both. So I hope that helped whoever had that question. Okay, let's see. Got to reconnect here. See the questions now. Do you make tracks with the intention towards a certain genre, or do you just let Beatport classify it after it's been submitted or released? Oh, I mean, I definitely have a style, right? So usually it's somewhere between like a deep tech, minimal, and techno, or some sort of combination between the three. For me personally, so yeah, when you make a release, the label can choose, what they want it categorized under. So yeah, I mean, essentially, you can choose what the genre is. Beatport's not going to take control of that and change, the style that you're going for. Although you want to be careful about what you categorize yourself as, because it might turn people off if you're advertising yourself as one sound and your actual sound is different. It'll just make some people think that you don't really know your genre that well. I don't know how much of a difference that would make, but I hope that answers your question. So do we have any further questions? Yeah, I don't do too many of these. I sent out, an email to all of you guys that signed up. So I honestly don't really know, how well these Q&As work for people that are into music, as opposed to, other things. But I was just trying to give value to you guys. And it looks like there's really no questions here. So I, probably won't stick on here for very long. So Deuce, if you got more questions, or if there's anyone else in the group that's following that has a question, please go ahead and ask it now. I'd love to help. Where do I normally? Oh, okay. That's a good question, because a lot of people, including myself, I back in like the early 2000s, I was working with a partner named Frank, and him and I created the group Interstate. And obviously we were kind of just collecting, the things that we liked about the music, and the music was different than what I make now. But we made some tracks and tried to get them out, and it was largely ignored for a while. But we ended up making some connections, and all of a sudden we started getting some really big plays and a really great response, and that was really great. We were supported by all the big, at the time, progressive DJs and stuff like that. But yeah, we kind of lost our way because we didn't really know what to be inspired by. And the bottom line really comes to, if you want continued inspiration, then you need to listen to a lot of music, and you need to not be afraid to go, I like this little aspect, I'm going to borrow that little thing. I like this little thing. Oh, I heard this quote on this TV show or this movie, that would work in a song. And you just start taking notes, right? You just start allowing everything to inspire you. If you limit what is allowed to inspire you, and you think that you have to pull everything from inside your head, you're going to get stuck really, really easily, because what you're doing is, instead of being inspired by those who make great music, you're going to be in competition with those who make great music, thinking that you have to pull everything out of your own hat. And you have to realize that everyone that makes great music, it comes from somewhere. It comes from inspiration from other places. So the ones that make the most music, and the ones that continue to make great music, learn more about their own process while they are borrowing ideas from other artists, and putting it together in a certain way. And if you're truly artistic, your music's not going to sound like all of the things that inspired you, you know. Maybe in the beginning they will, but as you carry on and as you start getting your own process, you're really going to start sounding like yourself, and you're really going to have kind of that signature sound that, you know, someone could literally walk into a club and hear one of your tracks and they'll go, oh yeah, that sounds just like such and such, and it'll be you, you know, because they will they'll know your sound, you know. But that just takes you making a number of songs and sticking to a certain sound. You know, a lot of people, they scatter in a lot of different places, and that's fine, but it's going to be more difficult for you to develop a sound that people connect with, you know, when you just make one song or two songs in you know 10 different styles. It can become difficult for you to build a name for a specific sound, right? But anyway, I hope that answers your question. I hope that was a long, you know, I gave you kind of a long version. But yeah, for me, that's the thing, is I lost inspiration because I thought that everything had to kind of come out of my head. And I was too afraid to borrow ideas from other people. And once I let that go and just allowed myself to be inspired by everything, you know, it all changed, you know. Then I felt like I was never, I never had a lack of ideas, you know. And yeah, I mean, whether I'm singing into my little microphone on my iPhone, or whether I'm you know, taking notes on a notepad or something like that, I've always got ideas. When I'm watching a TV show and I see something, you know, like on Netflix, I'll put the episode number, the name of the show, and the exact timestamp so that I can go back and sample it, you know, later and possibly use it in a song. Have I made songs based on just one sound that I liked? I mean, it doesn't take much to get inspired. A lot of times, for me, um, it'll be like a bass line in my head or something like that, and then I'll build kind of a groove around it. For me, everything kind of starts with the groove, you know. In the past, you know, I would kind of start with a melody idea or something like that, but I find that songs that start with a good groove tend to be easier to adapt into a full song where everything works together. If you start with a melody, then you kind of have to reverse engineer what that melody represents, what the rhythm of that melody is, and piece things around it. And sometimes that works and sometimes it doesn't. So yeah, for me, it's usually based around rhythm, and it could be a melody, but once again, I have to be able to develop a groove around that pretty quickly, you know, to make sure that melody is going to work, and all the other elements are going to work. But you can certainly develop a whole song idea from just a spark of one idea. I hope that answers your question. But for what I'm thinking you're asking, for me, I usually go through the patches and presets and different things like that after I've kind of built the drum and bass groove, you know, that way. That's kind of, for my style of music, that's really that's the base of, you know, that's kind of the blueprint of where the song's going. And then I will use kind of melody and pads and all those things, stabs or whatever, to develop and fill out the sound and give it more dimension. Can you retake? Yeah, you can retake the 30-day course as long as you've paid for the course. You can join AD Launch to the Future for free. You know, the only thing that you have to understand is that if you're a previous member, my priority is going to go to the new members as far as, you know, responding to their emails and answering questions. You know, so it might take me longer to get back to you if you have if you have your own questions. You know, I'll do my best to get back to you, but if it takes a little longer, it's because other students are kind of a priority for this launch. So yeah, that is, if you got any more questions, Deuce, I'm happy to help. It just seems like we don't have many people in the group. Once again, I don't do these very often, so it's possible that I didn't properly let people know in time, or maybe the emails didn't come in time or something like that. But that's no problem. I'm happy to do this for just one person, and it's not a problem at all. And I just assume that other people who had questions can ask them in the group. So I'm gonna, just because there's really no more questions, I'm gonna go ahead and stop the Q&A and meet anyone inside the Facebook group if they have any further questions. So I hope, since Deuce, you're the only one that answered questions, I hope that I answered most of your questions in a way that helps you. And with that, I'm not going to go any further. I had more things that I was going to introduce, but I shall just go ahead and log off here, and hope you have a great day. And maybe I'll do this again, see if more people would like this on a Sunday or something like that as well. Take care.